All right, you're listening to Q Connected on 95.5 KLAQ. We have a very special guest in the studio. Very special because he is quickly becoming, honestly, one of the rising stars in metal music and someone who has a really nice tie to El Paso, but we will get there soon. We have Ruben Zamora of Bridge of the Blaze here in the studio. Say hello, Ruben.
Hey, what's up, guys? Oh, thank you so much, Daniel, for having me here. It is such an honor, man. Seriously, just to be inside of the Q building. Seriously.
Oh, dude, the pleasure is mine, man. So tell us about yourself. What do you do?
Monday through Friday, I'm just doing the normal, typical 9 to 5, just a regular job. After hours, I go home and, I practice, I sing, do all that cool stuff. And then about every week, me and Brian, my partner for Bridges of Blaze, we rehearse with our rig, we practice, and we just do a lot of cool stuff.
So you're a working man by day, rock star by night.
Amen.
Now, Brian Allen,
yes,
he is the lead singer for Bridges of Blaze. By the way, shout out to Brian. I know you wanted to be here, but you're living it up in Austin right now.
Yes,
but
sir.
We have nothing but love for you, man.
Miss you.
But you're not the only two in the band, is that correct?
So it's pretty much us.
Okay.
We're the main owners of the band, or the company, we should say. Everybody else is contracted. I'd say the third member would be Robbie Joyner, our producer, because all three of us, it's one of the best things to really work with, especially when we're in the studio. It's less chefs in the kitchen, and our chemistry, our workflow is just so much better. So everybody else that you guys see in the videos, everybody you guys are going to see on stage, they are contracted, but they are top-notch musicians. They're one of our closest friends.
So you went to Austin, Texas,
Yes.
about 10 years ago. How did you end up meeting Brian to form Bridges of Blaze?
Man, I remember I just packed up and left, man. I didn't really see myself living here at El Paso at the time. I felt something bigger was calling me. So I moved out there and I had no plan. I just went over there, got a hotel. I was all right, what's next? Jobs, right? Secured a job. They asked me how soon could I start. They said, well, let me find a place. So I was with my buddy at the time too. So me and him decided to pass some time and go to Guitar Center. I kid you not, man, I walk inside of Guitar Center and I hear the most angelic shredding I have ever heard. And it's Brian. And I will say this, I was a deer in the headlights. I stopped and I stared. I was like, oh my goodness, this is fantastic. So I was just kind of scoping him out from a long distance. I don't want to intrude his shredding. So I finally get over to the other side of the wall of amps back when they used to have that. And then I start shredding. Then he starts shredding. Before we know it, we're just having this trade-off, this amazing shred-off. And then I hear his amp turn off and I just felt a void. I was like, oh, dude, that was like one of the best shreds I've ever had. One of the best things I've done. And then I hear him pop out of the side. He's like, hey, which one of y'all was shredding? Oh, it was me, man. So we exchanged numbers, and throughout the years we stayed in contact. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna move up here. Let's jam. And throughout the years, we'd hang out. I was doing my own thing. He was doing his own thing with Call Me King, Ultramind, all that stuff. And then around 2019, we really said, all right, let's really buckle down and let's do this. Let's do it right.
So it's almost like love at first sight or love at first shred.
Yeah.
I guess that's the best way to describe this.
Exactly.
So for 10 years, you guys have just, had this partnership of just creating music, and that's
Yes, sir.
really how it came. So you said you were from here in El Paso.
Yes.
Did you ever, any of the songs that you had with Bridges of Blaze, did you ever come up with anything here in El Paso that you would end up using for Bridges?
Yes. So Heartbroken Angel, the intro riff, I wrote with my old project called Annihilate the Nation here in El Paso.
Okay.
I was thinking, dude, we need to reamp this song. The intro melody, I didn't feel right using it because it was written by my old friend, Abel Lara. Abel, if you're listening, shout out to you, brother. Amazing stuff. And he wrote an amazing intro melody, and I just didn't feel right using that. So we stuck to what I wrote, the riff. And, once we brought it up to Robbie, he was like, okay, cool. But it's 10 years old. Let's give it a modern sound with the vocals. It's, let's stick with the guitars. Let's keep it how it is, but a little, fresh it up with some harmonies and different chords. But dude, it blew up. It really did, especially on TikTok. Almost 30 million streams later. We had no idea. With Brian and Robbie's help, it got there.
And you know what? We are going to get there. We are going to play that song later on the show. But I think right now, let's get into the first song that we're going to play, which is not Heartbroken Angel. It's actually Hell Bent. And this is one chosen specifically by you.
Yes.
You wanted us to play this one. Tell us why.
It is one of our first songs that we debuted as Bridges of Blaze. Now, it wasn't the first song we recorded. The first song we recorded as an original song was Forever Fallen. Hellbent came afterwards, but Hellbent was, it felt right. It was a perfect fit. And me and Brian were both hellbent to really get this going. So
You were hell-bent.
Yes, sir.
On getting hell-bent played for the masses.
Yes. Everybody out there, jam it out. Horns up. Have a good time.
Honestly, I don't think I can introduce the song any better. Let's go ahead and blast that mother right here.
Yes, sir.
It's Hellbent on Q Connected.
Ripping through the tides, you can't break me.
95.5 KLAQ. That was Hellbent by Bridge the Blaze, the metal band hailing from Austin, Texas. But Ruben Zamora, he's a proud old Pasoan, and we have him right here at the KLAQ studio. Ruben, say hello again.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Glad to be back at the 915.
Well, we're glad to have you here. Now, even though the band was formed in Austin, Texas, you, Ruben, you're right here in El Paso, Texas. Do you remember having any special memories growing up here in the 915?
Oh, man, so many, especially at the local guitar center. And I remember
The
going
one that's
there.
right here, just
Yeah.
past Bassett.
Exactly. I was always there with my old buddies. Like it was our normal thing. You know, get out of school, we'd go straight to Guitar Center, buy a pack of guitar strings, but we would just jam for hours until closing time. You know, honestly, I kind of felt bad because we're trying to write riffs, but I mean, I didn't have good equipment. You know, I only had a PV. I mean, PV's amazing, but they had Line 6 over there. Line 6 at the time was the state of the art amps. You know, they had Orange and Marshalls, all that. You know, we just enjoyed it, and we'd go back to our house and we'd just jam, we'd practice, we'd write music, and that was our thing back in the day, consistently.
Now, do you remember having any bands here in El Paso? Maybe any former bandmates that you're still in touch with today?
Yeah, so we were called Annihilate the Nation back in the day. We played at the Percolator, good old Percolator, before it got closed down.
Oh man, rest in peace, Percolator.
Exactly. So we actually, me and John Paul, a local artist over here, hey bud, if you're listening, miss you, man. We joined the El Paso Songwriting Contest and we got first place.
Nice.
Just with our 2 acoustic guitars. You know, it was a lot of fun. I remember right afterwards, we ended up going to Applebee's and we bought ourselves a dinner. We had a good time. But every now and then we message each other. Mr. Abel Lara, who was the guitarist at the time, he actually lives in Dallas now, so he's doing pretty well. He's actually looking to move back to Austin.
Oh,
so I was
cool.
telling him, dude, if you're ever down, let's jam. It's been a long time. Mr. Victor Menendez, he actually lives here in El Paso, and he was our drummer at the time. So he works at a bank. He's doing amazing stuff. And our old drummer, former drummer, Mr. Andre, he's military now, has a family. He's doing well. So we stay in touch as much as we can.
That's wonderful, man. And you know, before we played Hellbent, you did mention that there was one song that you guys have in Bridges Ablaze that you did write here in El Paso, and
Yeah.
that was Heartbroken Angel.
Yes, sir.
You kind of teased that, yeah, it gained a huge following on TikTok and Spotify. Like, it kind of blew up, I would
yeah.
say. Do you have any idea on, why this one that fans really kind of gravitated towards?
I have a feeling from what I've seen and fans reaching out that it really resonates with them to, when they lose a loved one, they just feel lost. That's why, hence the songs, Slipping Away, I'm Barely Hanging On, right? And then the guitar solos break away. That right there, it was when I lost one of my friends, due to, unaliving herself. It left a hollow thing within everybody. And I remember when we wrote that song in the studio, really surrounded it, what it really meant. It just felt good. And a lot of fans actually reached out and said, dude, because of that song, I feel better. I was able to be saved in a sense. And I have a feeling when that song specifically is played, it just gravitates within their soul and just brings out the better part of them, if that makes sense.
Yeah. It's such an emotional and powerful song with not just the lyrics, but everything. The guitar, the singing, the drums, the bass, and it hits you like a ton of bricks.
Yes.
both emotionally, and for me, it makes me want to put my devil horns up and just blast it out to 11, so to speak. You know,
You have to, man. You have to. And it's a shreddy song. Brian, man, when his solo comes in right after my walk up, he just goes off. The harmonies and the way it just goes into that eerie bridge of the woes. Oh man, that left us just with our jaws dropping. I remember Robbie turns around, dude, what are we gonna do here? I have an idea, a bridge idea. Started going with it, and then Brian just you know, as it's coming out, and then Robbie, Ruben, say, feeling like I can't fly. I need you to really get into it. And it took a couple takes. My voice cracked. And a fun fact: the ending chorus, how Brian comes in, he actually stepped in because my voice was shot.
really.
I couldn't sing anymore. And Robbie Joyner turns around. He's like, Ruben, I'm gonna need you to do T. No talking for the rest of the night. I'm gonna need you to just really rest. And yeah, I remember me and Brian were communicating, and I'm texting him, and he's talking, and I'm texting him back. My voice was gone.
Damn.
It was bad.
Well, you know what? Let's hear that song. Let's hear Heartbroken Angel from Bridges of Blaze. We have Ruben Zamora here at the KLAQ studios. Crank it up. It's 95.5 KLAQ.
Wasting away, I'm barely hanging on. I'm barely hanging on.
95.5 KLAQ with Heartbroken Angel, Bridge of the Blaze, hailing from Austin, Texas. They are absolutely killing it. And we have a special guest right now. We have Ruben Zamora, guitarist and co-vocalist for Bridge of the Blaze right here in the studio. Ruben, hello again.
Hey, it's such a pleasure, man. Seriously, thank you for having me.
Oh, dude, thank you for stopping by and representing El Paso in Austin. And just every time that you pick up a guitar and you just play, you know, I can hear the emotion of what you're doing, no matter what song it is. And I've always kind of wondered, songwriting is not the easiest thing to do. How do you manage to not go crazy when you come up with something new and you think, oh, dude, this is going to be a new song? What's your process?
So it varies. There's moments where I'm practicing scales or I'm doing etudes on Guitar Pro just to get better at the guitar. There's moments it just clicks. I'm okay, I gotta capitalize on this moment. And then I just start recording 2 measures, 4 measures, whatever it is. Even if it's basic chords, like, 1, 3, 5, that very basic stuff. Once I or Brian, once we figure out something that works and sounds cool, then we start adding the flavor, the leads, and then vocals start appearing. Shoot, it could even go as back to doing a voice note, just ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. Okay, cool, I gotta transpose it to guitar, and then from the guitar we do the drums, and then the drums we start drafting out a demo. But yeah, man, it's just various elements of it, and there's moments where we bring it up to Robbie, and then Robbie's like, oh, I hear this too. Robbie's amazing with this stuff. Like, he kind of helps us take it to the finish line, or if not, really beef it out. That's pretty much our process.
And one thing I've always wondered listening to your stuff, it has a huge following online. People love hearing it on Spotify, checking it out on TikTok, checking it out on Instagram. But one thing that I want to know, when are we going to hear this in a live setting? When are we going to see you, Brian, and the guys on a stage blasting this stuff for our ears to see in person?
Well, it may happen sooner than expected. But me and Brian were working really hard to actually get our whole process solidified. And what I mean by that is when we bought our whole rig, when we started configuring everything, we were just like, whoa, this is a lot. I mean, I'm not the techiest guy. I'm used to, hey, showing up to a local stage, plug in, sound check. All right, you're good to go. No, this is next level. Laptop, backing tracks, in-ear monitors, power on the rig. Looming has to go to front of house, make sure everything's good. Are your guys set? Mm-hmm. So we're finally getting everything. We actually have an SOP written out how to operate this thing.
Okay.
And we follow it to the T, and it's getting better and better. But recently, with our practice we've been having, we've been noticing a lot of improvement. Because we're doing everything. We're playing or singing, so it's a different field. But I want to say, fingers crossed. Hopefully, we have an amazing practice session when I get back. hopefully we'll be able to play around December. If not, maybe top of the next year. So that's kind of the window we're looking at.
Fingers
crossed, man. And if not, then another year. Hey, because we want to be able to bring you guys the best possible show ever.
Well, we would love to see this done in a live setting. I know, speaking on my personal behalf, I would love to see this done in a live setting. And I'm sure there's a lot of listeners right there that just would love to go see you, at a festival, maybe open up for another band, and then see you guys totally rip out, Forever Fallen, Apocalypse, Numb, like all these songs in a live setting. So I'm going to keep my fingers crossed for you, man.
Please do. Everybody, fingers crossed.
Now, you have obviously done live shows before. In fact, we were talking in the break that music kind of runs in your family. Is that true?
Pretty much. I want to say I'm the black sheep of the family in a sense. My grandfather, I never met him, but I hear stories that he used to play like the guitar and the bass. Growing up, I had this strong pull to music. I remember when I first signed up in Enzer Middle School over in Horizon City for an elective, it was music. And my first thought was, I want to learn how to play guitar. It's going to be awesome. And I went in and the girl's like, all right, do you want a trumpet or trombone? What? All right,
no guitar?
No. So I was like, all right, trumpet, cool. So throughout the years, I always had it in the back of my mind, man, I want to play guitar. But I did trumpet, I did solo ensemble, I got first chair, did a lot of cool things with it. But then towards the 8th grade year, that's when my parents presented me with an amazing electric guitar. I was baffled, and then they got me a nylon acoustic guitar. They put me in classes, and it was a church class because I went to church every Sunday. And I remember being there, and nobody would progress to the next chord until everybody, all 20 of us, had it. And I was like playing the same chord over and over. I'm like, dude, my parents picked me up. How was it? I'm like, just give me a book, I'll teach myself. So the rest is history.
There you go. Now, we are going to take a short break, but when we come back, we're actually going to play a band that your brother happens to be in, and they're from right here in El Paso. But to get a little of a tease, can you please tell us who that band is?
Death Gravity.
Oh, yeah. We got Death Gravity coming up for Q Connected. Welcome back to Q Connected right here on 95.5 KLAQ. We are joined once again by Ruben Zamora, proud El Pasoan and amazing guitarist / co-lead vocalist of the band Bridges Ablaze. Welcome back, man.
Thanks, man. Thanks. It's such an honor.
It's our pleasure for having you here. Now, before the break, we mentioned that, music runs in your family. Your grandfather was a guitarist and bassist. You mentioned that you play trumpet, and maybe in some alternate dimension, you could have been the next Miles Davis.
Pretty much.
But obviously we live in the dimension where you're an amazing guitar player.
Thank you.
But you also have a brother who plays, and that is Christian Ponce.
Yes, sir.
He's obviously played here in El Paso, and you actually played with him at one of our events.
Yes, sir.
Years ago.
Yes. Back in 2015 Balloonfest.
Wow.
Over at the Wet and Wild area. Man, it was so much fun. I remember when we got the news, we got selected. I remember there was a lot of bands, trying to come in, and we were one of the few. Back then we were called Annihilate the Nation. We all got our buddies, and, my brother too. I told him, dude, it'd be awesome if you can go in. We pulled them in and we rehearsed. We didn't really have too many originals. We did covers, like The Trooper, Iron Maiden, Megadeth, Metallica,
Classics.
All that cool stuff. And then, we got there, dude, and we had an amazing crowd. And when we were getting there, I had no idea we were opening for both, All That Remains and Sons of Texas.
Wow.
And that was the first time I ever heard Sons of Texas play live. Like, if I remember correctly, they opened up with Baptized in Rio Grande, and I was like, dude, this is the coolest song ever. We're right next to the Rio Grande.
I know. It's like perfect here.
Exactly. So it was an amazing moment, man. I'll have to share some of the pictures with you, Daniel.
No, I would love to see that.
In the future. But, dude, it has the Q logo on the bottom of the stage. I'm on the far right. You can barely see because picture quality wasn't the best back then.
Right.
But you could see me with red LTD guitar. And I was wearing an Event 7-fold at the time.
Nice. Well, on that note, I think we should hear some of Christian's music. But you know what? I cannot do this introduction justice. Ruben, can you introduce your brother's band right here on Q Connected?
You are listening to Death Gravity's Eternity on KLAQ.
95.5 KLAQ. That was Death, Gravity, Eternity. The brother of Ruben Zamora, Christian Ponce, is the lead singer for the band. I believe he's also the lead guitarist for that band too.
I think just the lead singer.
I think you're right. Yeah. You would know better because he's your brother.
He is talented. He did play bass a while back, so he's still got that groove.
I do want to ask you though, you've heard yourself here on the radio. How does it feel hearing your brother's music?
Honestly, man, if I could say that it put me to tears, that is the honest truth. Just to hear both of us in one of the radio stations that we both grew up listening to, just thinking, I remember we were just kids, probably high school kids. And we were just thinking, dude, imagine one of our songs being played on El Paso's KLAQ. Wouldn't that be one of the best achievements of our lives? And now we're here. We are getting playtime because of you guys, because of you, Daniel, an amazing supporter, an amazing person to really bring us together. You've made our dreams come true. So thank you.
No, I didn't do anything. You guys put in the hard work. And I'm not just talking to you, Ruben. I'm not talking to Christian. I'm talking to every single musician who picks up a guitar, picks up a pair of drumsticks, picks up a bass, puts that microphone in their hand. They're the ones who put in the hard work, put in the grind, to put in the effort to make their dreams come to life. Amen. They're the ones that are hardworking. But if there's anything that we can do to prove that there is so much untapped potential, untapped talent, and not just here in El Paso, in Las Cruces, Juarez, Austin, wherever it is, we want to make damn sure that their music gets heard.
Thank you.
Now, you're very welcome. Well, we thank you for coming here, to join us here. And we're going to wrap things up here. I don't want to get too mushy, but we are going to wrap up here. But I think we're going to have you come back here in the future.
Oh, most definitely. Hopefully with Brian, too. I know we were talking about possibly coming out.
I know. I would love to have Brian here so that we can get some more stuff from you guys. Actually, on that note, we do have a new song from you guys. A song you just put out about a week ago. It's called Take Me. And I wanted to ask, what's the song about? And maybe, just maybe, is this leading up to something more from you guys?
Oh, most definitely. So this song it pretty much captures the landscape of a breakup in real time. It describes the simultaneous experience of losing a person you love while also accepting the reality of that loss and what it means for the future, right? So in the verses, it's like all that crazy stuff and, all the stuff that, the bad things that you're in within a relationship, of a very bad relationship. But then the chorus really talks about your future love. You're longing for that one person that is truly out there for you. And then the second verse comes in and you're sucked right back in because you go back and then you push through it again and then again back into the chorus. Whoever you are, you're just singing to them. Hopefully that they resonate in this time.
And we're going to hear from that song, but I'm just going to ask flat out, are we getting an album from you guys? I'm sorry. I had to ask.
So yes. Me and Brian have talked about it, especially Robbie. What we're thinking of doing is possibly conjoining all of our songs to possibly make this an amazing album. Or we even thought of is, every song sounds different. What if we branch out for every song, that album? Like, okay, Take Me is more pop punkish, pop punk album. Apocalypse is more gent album. So we've thought about possibly doing like a spider web type of thing of albums, but we're still kind of in limbo. But yes, there's going to be an album, and Daniel, you guys are going to be one of the first ones to get your hands on it.
And we're going to be the first radio station to play it. No, I'm just kidding.
Yes.
I don't think we were the first radio station to play you guys, but we are very happy to play you guys, to support what you've been doing for the last 3 years now, I would say, right?
Yeah, man. Thank you. We've been working in the shadows for so many years, dude. Since recording our cover, The Kill, 30 Seconds to Mars back in 2019 with Corey Brenneman in San Antonio. And yeah, we ended up releasing it 2020, then 2021 came by and kicked it into high gear.
It came out of the shadows. Now it's brought into the light for the world to see. Ruben Zamora, thank you so much for being here in the KLAQ studio, taking so much time out of your day to stop by and visit us. Safe travels back to Austin. Keep killing it. And we look forward to seeing you back here in El Paso, hopefully maybe on that stage.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for having me, man. It was an honor to even be here. Thank you.
It was a pleasure to have you here. Let's crank it up. This is Bridge of the Blazes' brand new song, Take Me, for Q Connected.